Good morning, I'm Father Kevin Long of St. Elias Antiochian Orthodox Church in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Today's Thursday, April 2nd, 2020, and here are the readings for the fifth Thursday of Great Lent. The first is from the prophecy of Isaiah, chapter 42, verses 5 through 16. Thus says the Lord God, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread forth the earth and that which comes from it, who gives breath to the people on it and the spirit to those who walk on it. I, the Lord, have called you in righteousness, and I will hold your hand. I will keep you and give you as a covenant to the people, as a light to the Gentiles, to open blind eyes, to bring out prisoners from the prison, and those who sit in darkness from the prison house. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory I will not give to another, nor my praise to graven images. Behold, the former things have come to pass, and new things I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Sing to the Lord a new song, and his praise from the ends of the earth. You who go down to the sea and all that is in it, you coastlands and you inhabitants of them. Let the wilderness and its cities lift up their voice, the villages that Kedar inhabits. Let the inhabitants of Selah sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. Let them give glory to the Lord and declare his praise in the coastlands. The Lord shall go forth like a mighty man. He shall stir up his zeal like a man of war. He shall cry out, yes, shout aloud. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have held my peace a long time. I have been still and restrained myself. Now I will cry like a woman in labor. I will pant and gasp at once. I will lay waste to the mountains and the hills, and dry up all their vegetation. I will make the rivers coastlands, and I will dry up the pools. I will bring the blind by a way they do not know. I will lead them in paths they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked places straight. These things I will do for them, and not forsake them. The second reading today is from Genesis, chapter 18, verses 20 through 33. And the Lord said, because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it that has come to me, and if not, I will know. Then the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, but Abraham still stood before the Lord. And Abraham came near and said, would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there were 50 righteous within the city. Would you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? For be it for you to do such a thing, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked. So far be it from you. You shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. Then Abraham answered and said, indeed now, I who am but dust and ashes have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose there were 5 less than 50 righteous. Would you destroy all the city for the lack of 5? And he said, if I find there 45, I will not destroy it. And then he spoke to him again and said, suppose there but should be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for the sake of 40. And he said, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Suppose 30 should be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. Then he said, indeed now I have taken it upon myself to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 20. And then he said, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak but once more. Suppose 10 should be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. So the Lord went his way as soon as he had finished speaking with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. And the final reading today is from the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 17, through chapter 17, verse 17. The highway of the upright is to depart from evil. He who keeps his way preserves his soul. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Better to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. He who heeds the word wisely will find good, and whoever trusts in the Lord, happy is he. The wise in heart would be called prudent, and sweetness to the lips increases learning. Understanding is a wellspring of life to him who has it, but the corruption of fools is folly. The heart of the wise teaches his mouth and adds learning to his lips. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. There is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. And the person who labors for himself, for his hungry mouth drives him on. An ungodly man digs up evil, and it is on his lips like a burning fire. A perverse man sows strife, and a whisperer separates the best of friends. A violent man entices his neighbor and leads him in a way that is not good. He winks his eyes to devise perverse things. He purses his lips to bring about evil. The silver-haired head is a crown of glory, if it is found in the way of righteousness. He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but in its every decision is from the Lord. Better is a dry morsel with quietness than a house full of feasting with strife. A wise servant will rule over a son who causes shame, and will share an inheritance among the brothers. The refining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the heart. An evildoer gives heed to false lips. A liar listens eagerly to a spiteful tongue. He who mocks the poor reproaches his maker. He who is glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children is their father. Excellent speech is not becoming to a fool, much less lying lips to a prince. A present is a precious stone in the eyes of its possessor. Wherever he turns, he prospers. He who covers a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates the best of friends. Reproof is more effective for a wise man than 100 blows on a fool. An evil man seeks only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. Whoever rewards evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is like releasing water. Therefore stop contention before a quarrel starts. He who justifies the wicked, and he who condemns the just, both of them alike are an abomination to the Lord. Why is there in the hand of a fool the purchase price of wisdom, since he has no heart for it? A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. So there's something in the reading of Proverbs that I think is beneficial for us today. And I'm not sure if we really understand it unless we do a little bit of smithing. It's Proverbs 17, verse 3. The refining pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the hearts. Those two things, when you are dealing with precious metals, especially as you dig them out of the earth, you have to do some refining in order to get what you are really looking for. When you get gold ore out of the ground, it is mingled with other things. And the same is true for silver. I mean, you can tell what it looks like as you're looking at it in the ground, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to make sure that it is pure as you want it to be. And so the two items that were mentioned there, refining pot for silver and the furnace for gold, those two things are the ways that they seek to eliminate the impurities from the silver and the gold. When you take that, you basically put it into a crucible, a cup, that can withstand very, very high temperatures. And then you put it into a furnace or a refining pot that heats the metal and everything else in it to a very, very high temperature so that eventually the ore melts. And by the time it melts, it's this bright, glowing orange-yellow color. And as you're refining it, the impurities find their way towards the top, and everything that is pure settles towards the bottom. So what a refiner will do is he will heat it, and then after the time everything is melted, and then he will come, or she will come, and they will scrape off the impurities from the top and throw them away. And what is left behind is the pure thing, either the silver or the gold. Well, the writer of Proverbs is saying that's exactly the same thing the way it is with us. That a lot of times the true purity of our souls is known through the fires of adversity. So God tests our hearts in these kinds of opportunities. So it's not really so much to punish us as it is to see how pure we are, what we are made of. Are our spirits, are our souls the pure gold, or are they dross, the stuff you throw away? And so when we find ourselves challenged with these kinds of times, it really is important for us to consider the way that we respond to them. Do we respond in a way that would be pleasing to God? Do we respond in a way that testifies that our soul is pure as God intends it to be? Or is it more like dross, so that by the time you're done melting it and refining it, there's not a whole lot left? Well, that's our challenge. In this time, and in every time, really, it's our challenge to do what we can for our souls, to feed and nourish our souls, to purify our souls, so that when the times of testing come, like now, for example, our souls will be ready. We will be ready. We'll be in a position to give glory to God at all times, to do what we can to help and to love our neighbor, and to show the world, indeed, that our souls are as God intended them to be. May God bless you and keep you. May he give you a sense of his peace now and always, now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen. God bless you. Have a good day.